Hello, namaskar viewers. I am Sanjeev Pandya welcoming you to another episode of the Money Talks with AJ Kumar right here on ITV Gold. This weekly show brings you all the things that you really need to know about money, but how money and taxes are together. That's what the main discussion in this show. Brought to you by Science CPAs Services, a professional accounting firm located in the state of New Jersey with multiple CPAs on the hand, experienced, knowledgeable CPAs who can help you with any tax matters, whether it's a personal or even business tax returns. Even if you're owner of small to mid-sized to large-sized businesses, they can assist you with the tax returns or tax-related any issues. You can give them a call at 908-888-8900 to set up a meeting, 908-888-8900, or visit their website sciencecpaservices.com for more information. With that note, I'd like to welcome Mr. A.J. Kumar, CPA, CVA, and MBA with Science CPA Services. Over 25 years of experience and knowledge and expertise in the taxes and taxes related matters. He brings his views on this show for viewers for your help, so that way you know more about taxes and money and whatnot. So AJ, with that note, welcome to the show. Good to have you.
Absolutely, Sanjeev. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Do you ever get tired to talk about taxes all day long?
Not really.
Not really.
Truth be told, once you find your passion, if I have nothing to do on a Saturday, I'll be happy to get on the computer and start looking at some tax talk, some tax article. People listen to music when they eat on YouTube, so they see the videos. I look at the tax shows. This is what I enjoy. I mean, everybody has their own definition of enjoyment. The key here is to find what makes you happy. And if you find that thing, then you are never really working.
Okay, AJ lives and breathes when it comes to taxes. In this episode, we're going to talk about, of course, money and taxes and the real estate, because they say there is a real money in the real estate. And if you find the right property and if you invest it very wisely, you can really make a money like many millionaires and billionaires in this country have made money through real estate. So to talk about real estate, tie up with money and taxes, we have a guest here. We'd like to welcome Miss Shweta Patil. She is the residential and commercial real estate advisor. She joins us in the show to give us, in-depth knowledge of real estate, residential and commercial properties in New Jersey. Shweta, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sanjeev. And rightly said, do you guys know that 90% of the millionaires in this country been made through real estate investments?
Shweta, of course, our best wishes are with you to become millionaire in the real estate. I'm sure you will do well. As you bring your knowledge and experience being a head of e-commerce in your professional career and now into real estate, first of all, my question to you is, why did you choose real estate?
Well, I was always passionate about real estate. I'm a people's person. I was tired of sitting behind the desk. I can choose my own hours. And as I said, 90% of the millionaires in this country are by investing into real estate. So I wanted to learn more and start investing into real estate and help people to become millionaires.
All right. So 90% of, millionaires and billionaires, whatever that you call that, they have become successful with real estate. But number one thing as a real estate advisor that you should be doing is to show them right property at the right location. So tell us about that part, location and the property.
See, to become a successful investor, there are 4 important steps. The very first is location, location, location.
Gee.
You have to look for a strong business growth. You have to look for a transportation access. You have to look for redevelopment potential. You have to look for population growth, job growth, and rental income.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the very first step of real estate investment.
Okay. And you think you being head of e-commerce, that experience can also be helpful in this career?
Of course, because being head of e-commerce, I bring the knowledge of digital media marketing. I bring the knowledge of how I can run the Google ads, how I can market those properties, how I can bring in the leads for the investors. So that's how I think my background helps. in real estate.
Okay, well, good to have you in the show. And as we go along, we're gonna, learn more from you about real estate, especially in New Jersey area, residential and commercial properties.
Yes.
So, AJ, let's just start with the basic that how can a person become millionaire by investing in the real estate if that person is not doing anything, inherited some money, but how can they make money in the real estate?
Well, the truth is in the pudding. We know a lot of people became millionaire by doing the real estate investment. So the first step is to understand how it works. It's complicated, like anything else, like any other business. So a lot of people make this mistake. Everybody knows location, location, location. Everybody feels if I find the right property, I'll make $1 million. It's not about the right property. It's about understanding the game. It's about, consider the situation when 1/3 of your money is taken by the government every time you sell. How would you survive? You bought something for $100,000. You sold it for $200,000. Government wants 1/3 of this money. Unless you understand 1031 exchange, unless you know not just the spelling, how it works, Delaware Statutory Trust, unless you understand the historical building easement, unless you understand how to save taxes, swap till you drop rule, inheritance rule, you cannot be a successful investor. As long as you're paying 1/3 of your money to Uncle Sam, how would you grow? How would you make sense of it? Finding the right property is important. Having the right realtor is important. Everything goes together. Minimizing the tax liability is where I come in the picture.
Okay, very nice. Now, Shweta, the question that I have for you is that how do you go in researching right property, right location for a potential buyer, whether it's a residential or commercial? What kind of tools that you use to figure out the, right property?
So first of all, I do my market research.
Right.
I have to look for which location has the potential to grow. If it's an investment property, I have to research the rental income portfolio. I have to work and see what's the cap rate. If you, as my client, you want to invest into something, so I have to make sure that your investment is worth of that. So I will do my thorough market analysis.
Okay.
So we have certain tools as a realtor. We have access to those tools, which if you go on Zillow will say, oh, this is the estimate and everything. They just give you an estimate of everything, but we have the right tools. We do everything, using some research criteria,
Okay.
and that's how I will give you the right numbers.
Okay, great. Impromptu question came to my mind, if you can answer that. Do you use any AI tools to do this? Has AI really gone into this real estate world?
I see, as I said, I used to be e-commerce head, and of course I'm very handy with technology, and I do use AI.
And it helps?
Yeah. It helps, but that's a secret of mine.
That's okay. We just wanted to know up to this point that AI has really definitely...
Yes.
AI
now-
has changed every single business.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
Every
Yes.
business.
Yes, yes.
Mostly
Definitely.
stores.
अभी तो शुरुआत हुई है. I think
Absolutely,
what they are
100% right.
saying
अभी तो
is it's
शुरुआत
going
हुई है.
they're really going to go far.
Yes.
AJ, let's just start with a basic stuff. If somebody wants to start investing into commercial property, right, or residential for that matter, what kind of company they should set up, the entity they should set up, and what are the first-hand advice that you can give them?
So first and the foremost advice that we have for all commercial investor, real estate investor, is to form an LLC around it. Not only it will protect you from any liability around the property, it will also help you to centralize the expenses. Tomorrow you can claim those expenses as deduction on your tax return. Generally speaking, the income from the rent is offset by the depreciation, property tax, mortgage interest. So if you look at a simple equation, rent is always less than your mortgage interest, property tax, depreciation, association fees, upkeep, maintenance, water taxes, utility bill. So at the bottom line, you're not paying any taxes. In those cases, LLC is the preferred structure.
Okay, and then one of the great benefits in real estate is depreciation, right? If you use it, there are a few strategies for real estate investor that they should know, and depreciation is one of them.
100%. Depreciation is your best friend. There are a lot of new rules. Section 179 depreciation, you can do the cost segregation study where you can enhance your depreciation deduction. Generally speaking, the residential real estate properties are depreciated over 27.5 years. Commercial properties are depreciated over 39 years. But you don't have to go through the straight line depreciation. There are Macker's rule, modified accelerated depreciation. Then again, cost segregation study can help you increase the depreciation. Depreciation is a non-cash expense that helps you reduce the taxable income. You're not paying anything out of it, but it helps you save taxes. That's why depreciation is extremely important when it comes to real estate investments.
All right, and quickly, if you can give some information on 1031 exchange before we go into the break in 2 minutes.
As the name says, it's an exchange rule. So in Internal Revenue Code, there is a code 1031. 1031 comes from the number where the code is written out. What it says, when you are selling something, only to buy something else, the system sees it that you are exchanging it, not selling it. There are certain caveats around it. You cannot have the benefit of the money, meaning when you sell the property, the money must stay at the attorney's escrow account. You cannot be taking the money. You have to identify the property within 45 days. You have to close the new property that you are buying within 180 days. So there are rules that you have to be concerned about. All of the money have to be invested into the new property. But if you do it right, if you do it properly, you can avoid paying taxes on the property that you are selling.
All right, and to avoid paying taxes, that's when you need to reach out to Science CPA Services, because their entire staff is very knowledgeable. They can help you with that, and they can besides help you with the virtual CEO, CFO, and the payroll services, and even IRS tax audit. So remember, Science CPA Services, 908-888-8900. We're going to go into the break. We're going to take a short break, and after we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with AJ Kumar and, of course, our guest today, Ms. Shweta Patil, real estate advisor. So more coming your way after these messages. Welcome back to the second half of the Money Talks with AJ Kumar right here on ITV Gold. The show is brought to you by Science CPA Services. And as I mentioned, Science CPA Services is a full-fledged, complete professional accounting firm where they believe to do taxes right. Refund, no refund, that's a secondary. But do your taxes right so that way you could never have IRS tax audit, and that's what Science CPA Services expertise is all about. In case if you are in IRS tax audit and if your return was done by some other CPA, not to worry, do not ignore that IRS tax audit letter. Please do contact Science CPA Services at your earliest convenience, 908-888-8900. Their ratio in solving IRS tax audit matter is higher than perhaps any other CPAs in the area. So do reach out to them and they will help you. They will guide you to come out of that IRS tax audit, because that's where the experience comes in. Once again, their phone number 908-888-8900, website sciencecpaservices.com. But now with that note, I'd like to turn my attention and everyone's attention to our guest, Ms. Shweta Patil here. She's the real estate advisor. Shweta, now tell me, is this buyer's market or seller's market when it comes to real estate at this point in time?
Okay, let me just say that just Ajayji and you said that gold is gold, never gets old, right? That's how. When I was a little girl, that time back in India, the gold used to be very cheap. And now, at this point also, people are still investing, same as real estate. There is never a right or wrong time to invest in real estate. It's never a buyer's market or seller's market. It all depends on your appetite, your budget, the location you're looking into, and what you want to buy.
Truth be told, when nobody's buying, that's when you should be buying. When everybody is selling, that's when you don't want to be selling.
Yes.
Exactly.
If everybody is selling, the prices
Yes.
are going to be adjusted anyway.
Correct, absolutely.
Yes.
But so that's a good answer. That real estate investment is as good as gold, because once you get the right property, whether it's a residential or commercial property, it's always a good buy. Now you say you use multiple searches and multiple tools and everything to figure out the right property for the right location and everything else. How do you think the average success ratio for realtor is? Because you contact the potential buyer, and by the time you know what they are looking for, and by the time you get them a property, how long does it take for a realtor to turn that around into deal signing?
See, the very first thing about me is I'm no part-time realtor. This is my full-time bread and butter job, okay? So time is money, and same goes for my clients. The very first thing I do is I have to know their exact requirements, and I work around it. Within 3 months of period, I try to find them a right property to
Okay.
invest, to buy, or anything, and that's my success rate.
Absolutely. As Shweta rightly said, in this field, there are a lot of part-timers. There are a lot of people who have a full-time gig and they are doing real estate just as a side gig on the weekends only, because most of the business is happening on the weekends. And that's why the success ratios are so skewed. You look at 100 realtors and you'll see, hey, these 40 are not successful. But if you look at those 40 who are not successful, you will find most of them are actually part-timers. That's what the differentiation factor is.
So part-time versus full-time, there is a big difference, because full-time is full attention.
Absolutely.
basically.
Absolutely.
Part-time is a part attention.
100%.
Whenever you get a chance, you go ahead and do it. Whenever you don't have chance, then you don't do it. Shweta, as you part of this very well-known realtor called Wycott Realtor, right? I'm sure their high standard also helps you, I guess, to reach out to more properties, or maybe the potential buyers come to you because name helps.
Yes, definitely. My reason to join Wycott Realtors was the tools they provide, and they have a training program which I joined. It's an 8-week-long training program. Since I was very new to real estate, I joined them. I had that training program, and I get to use all those tools to bring in the leads, contact those leads, have the CRM system work for me. And so that's why, and it's all under one roof. So they have other companies under Wycott Realtors which can help a realtor to boost the leads.
And how does a realtor work with CPA like AJ? Because you know AJ and AJ knows you.
Yes.
So how does that business relationship comes together?
Over the year, my experience is real estate and finances go hand in hand, and that's where Ajayji's part come in.
Okay.
You see, the very first thing you need, Sanjeevji, when you think about the real estate investment, is money.
Yes.
And we are the ones who help investors find that money. Let's say if you're investing into a commercial real estate. Commercial real estate typically needs 25% down payment, but somebody has to pay the 75%. We will work with the lender, we'll give them last 3 years tax return. A lot of small business owners, especially the cash intensive business, they don't see the value of showing profit. So we work with the small business owners to help them understand the credibility. How do you create the credit score? How do you create a tax return, create the payroll, so we can show consistent income, stable income. So we work with the investor, we work with the bank, we act as a bridge. So it's more of a translator, Sanjeevji. So you have somebody who wants to give money, because this is how they make money. Now you have somebody who wants to take money, because they want to do the real estate investment, but they don't understand each other's language. We, the CPA, understand taxes, understand underwriting, understand financing, understand debt covenants, understand borrowing base, and we bridge that gap. We bring the money to the investor when they need it.
I'm telling you, AJG, your understanding is perfect. In all these departments, it's really good. Shweta, you are a real estate advisor. So I may ask you to give advice to our viewers. One is that What should a potential seller do if they are planning to sell their commercial or residential property? And second fold question is, what should a buyer do before they start looking for residential commercial property to buy?
The very first thing the seller should do is please don't try to sell it yourself, because you need the expertise, you need the local agent, you need the experienced and get that right property value. You need that marketing. So the seller should, if they don't want to go with just a particular agent, they should interview few agents, see what's the difference, what are their expertise, and who brings you more to the table. And that's how they should work with the real estate agent. For the buyer, the very first thing is they have to look for what's their budget and what are they trying to get out of it. Are they looking to just a small investment? Are they looking for a bigger portfolio? What cap rate? They have to understand all those terms that matters, and then according to that I work with my buyers. If it's right now I'm working with a lot of residential investors who want to buy a condo or a townhouse. Shweta, rather than keeping that money into bank, we were thinking if we can buy it and if we can make an income throughout the rentals.
Rent it out, right?
You know, so I have to see not just making up their money, they should get some money in the pocket too, because all these townhomes, condos, with these interest rate and the HOAs and everything, I have to work with the numbers and find them the right property. So it's all about the right guidance, and it's all about choosing the right real estate agent.
What about commercial properties? As we see so many commercial properties out there, what do you think the buyers are looking for? What kind of commercial properties, and what do you think, how solid their interest still is to invest in commercial properties?
Well, there is a lot of interest in investing in commercial properties. Again, it matters on what you're looking into, how much is your budget, what you're trying to get out of it. To be very honest, commercial and residential, there is a lot of difference.
Okay.
I recently closed on a medical office building. I worked on that commercial property at least 8 months to close. In residential, you close in 45 days to 60 days. Easy. But in commercial, it's totally different. And there is a lot of interest in medical office spaces, office buildings, multifamilies, warehousing, strip malls, liquor stores. So there is always interest. Again, the numbers have to work, the finances has to work.
That's
and
what.
AJG can help you with that. If the finances work, he gives a green, I find the property.
Well, Shweta, that's exactly what we wanted to hear. That now you have closed, what does it take to close residential property versus commercial property, and how strong you are going into both the areas and making deals for the potential investors. So it's really interesting to know, and we appreciate you being part of the show. We thank you so very much for your advices, your comments, and your inputs. And, we wish you all the best in the future.
Thank you, Sanjeev ji. And I also want to thank you, ITV Gold and AJ, for having me on this show. Thank you.
Thank you. AJ, your closing comments, real money in the real estate, quickly, let's just give them a little bit more advice.
If you don't learn anything out of it, please do yourself a favor, learn about 1031 exchange, learn about Delaware Statutory Trust, historical building easement. Don't gift the property to your children. Let it go through the inheritance. In gifting, when you gift the property, the cost basis remains the cost basis of the buyer. Very, very important. A lot of people make this mistake. Inherited property is much better than gifted property. Read the basic rules. If you have any question, we are here to help. Give us a call, and we'll be happy to help.
Well, viewers, with that note, we come to the end of this show, The Money Talks with AJ, right here on ITV Gold. We thank you so very much for watching the show. And this is the show brings you all that you really need to know about money and taxes. For any taxes related matter, reach out to Sai CPA Services, 908-888-8900, or visit saicpaservices.com. We'd like to thank Ms. Shweta Patil, real estate advisor, for being our guest today, and her expertise and knowledge and her shared views were really, really helpful in the show.
Thank you.